Hello ladies and gentlemen, what's up? Pork Shopper here, and today is the start of a 5-part series of me going through all the affinities and looking at the new cards, giving my opinion and thoughts about how useful they will be and what this affinity will offer you. If you want to keep up with all the latest news and guides of version 42, I am doing daily videos on Paragon, so if you want, subscribe and sharing my content around is really appreciated. Let me know down below in the comments what you think of this affinity and what your favourite cards will be. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. I will be copying this intro for all the affinity videos I will be doing, so if you have heard it before, skip over to the time on screen, but it explains how attributes with cards work. Secondly, I am using the core.gg website to look at all the cards, link will be down below. I highly recommend to check the site out, as when version 42 drops, all my deck builds will be on that website. You can easily link your Epic account to the website to transfer your decks over. It's my personal favourite deck building website. Now let's get into the cards. First thing to know is that each affinity has a unique trait, which at the start of each affinity I will talk about what that trait is. The way you buy cards is with either gold, the new currency, or attribute points. To summarise this rather quickly, which when version 42 fully releases I will be doing a full in-depth guide on, is that you gain attribute points by spending your gold, 1000 gold for an attribute point. There are 3 attributes: Vitality, which when upgraded gives you health and health regen, Intellect, which gives you mana and mana regen, and Agility, which gives you attack speed and basic armor. Cards need a required amount of attribute points to access. For example, if you need 3 Vitality and 3 Intellect, this will cost you 6000 gold in total. You then use those points for said card. If you remove the card from your current card slot, you can use those points elsewhere. Each attribute has 25 levels in total, so that's 25 points to give. If a card costs 13 Vitality, that means you can't buy another 13 Vitality card because that equals 26, well there's only 25 levels per attribute, but that's only if you have fully leveled up that attribute to 25. Now that's out the way, let's look at this affinity. So the first affinity we're going to look at by, you looking at the title, is the affinity growth. The first thing we are going to look at is the affinity trait. As you can see on some cards is called Cultivate. So what is Cultivate and what does it do to these cards? So Cultivate means that cards with this label actually increase their stats as long as the stated conditions are being met. This could be as simple as the amount of time they have been equipped, or require the players to kill a certain number of enemies. Also something to note is that the stats and all progress on these cards are lost when they are removed from this player's hands. So if you take one of these Cultivate cards, you equip it, get all the extra power and etc. on, and then you get rid of the card, you will lose absolutely everything there, and if you re-equip the card again you will have to start over. Just something to note. Also, like I said with the core DG, all the cards are sort of in order, from the lowest levels to the early game cards to all the late game cards. But let's get right into it. The first card we have is Exoskeleton, which has the passive hero block. Reduce damage taken from enemy heroes by 4.9. Something that I would also like to say is that the actual stats here may not be final, so the changes of the stats may be slightly changed but the effects will stay the same. This costs 1 vitality point, meaning at the start of the games you always get 1000 gold, meaning you can put that 1000 gold in vitality and get this card straight away. This card only reduces damage taken from enemy heroes, so for junglers early on this is going to be pretty useless card, as you're going to be against jungle minions, not enemy heroes. I believe this card mostly will suit a support or an offlaner. If you're a support hero who wants to get right up in the face of the offlaner, or if you're the offlaner, again you're going to get bullied more because it's a 2v1 scenario, I believe that's when this card will suit most if you're in one of those 2 roles, and you can grab this card straight away at the start of the game. Then we have Highwayman, which gives you 1 mana regen and costs 1000 gold. The effect this gives you is Gold Mine. Whenever you deal damage to a hero, gain 46 gold, and has a cooldown which I don't think should have a cooldown there. Again, this is a bit early on, so it may not be 100% correct. Something interesting to note here is when dealing damage to a hero. What does this mean? Does this mean a damage over time effect, or any time you hit amount of damage? Or does it have to be a specific amount of damage to trigger? But it doesn't say that on the card. So damage over time effect, so like Morgesha's Hive, could be really good. If you hit a hero with that, it does like 8 ticks of damage. Each one may give you that gold. Again, this be quite a useful card for support if you want to get right up into the phase of the off laner, meaning you can get extra gold, which within the new system supports aren't going to get as much gold as they would have before, so this is definitely going to benefit them there. And again, it only costs 1000 gold, so you can get this right at the start of the game. Then we have Chanting Shape Man with the effect Shared Wisdom. This costs 1 intellect. Gain 17.2% mana regen for each nearby ally. Again, this card seems pretty much perfect for a support if you want to use a lot of mana early on. If you have some great abilities like a stun you want to keep using over and over again, you're always pretty much going to be near your carry, so that could be very beneficial there. Not something you want for the jungler or really offlaner or mid laner. I just don't see that being anything there, as remember, it's for nearby allies, not enemies. Then we have Coin Master, which costs 1 vitality, and the effect is Wealthy. Gain 4.9 bonus gold every 10 seconds, increases to 0.98 bonus gold while out of combat. Now the while out of combat is something which has always been a bit iffy. I presume this means if you aren't attacking or getting attacked by minions or enemies for a set period of time. I believe currently in the game it's roughly 5 seconds. But this would be a nice card to just have over time, if definitely you're going to be more passive, like the offlaner, if you're not going to probably be attacking the enemy heroes in the safe lane that much, it'd be a pretty good card there. And if you want to be more of a passive support, again, another beneficial card to have there. But except for that, I don't think it's going to have much else use. Again, it's only 1 vitality, can get it right to start the game, more of an offlaner or support early game card to benefit you up, because pretty much any other hero is going to be in combat either getting attacked by minions or attacking themselves. Then we have the Mother Tree, which gives you some health regen and is the first proper jungle card. This costs 1 vitality and 1 agility, so will cost 2000 gold in total. It has the effect Jungle Restoration, 11.6% mana regen and 1.4 health regen when in the jungle. So pretty much you can't get this right at the start of the game as a jungler because it costs 2000 gold and you only have 1000, but if you have the Growth Affinity, this is pretty much going to be your #1 card you want to get straight away as a jungler. If you want to use a lot of abilities and with the 4 health regen and 1.4 health regen here comboed together, this is going to be a really good card for you in the early game. Then we have our first Cultivate card, which is the trait I just talked about, and it has extra attack speed and is called the Flame of Zell. So what does this do? It deals 307 true damage to neutral or enemy minions. Damage increases by 92.1 with each use. So that part with the damage increased is the Cultivate part, meaning the more you use this card, the more damage it does. But if you get rid of the card and re-equip it, you lose all that extra damage for this card. It has quite a short cooldown and mana cost, and costs 2000 gold to equip. Then we have a card called Pack Leader, giving you some power, and is 2 intellect and 1 agility. Then has the effect Bull's Eye, which is mark an enemy. Nearby allied minions will attack that target for 22.3 seconds. The cooldown is 64 seconds and the mana cost is 77. So this is now going into more late early game, maybe mid-ish game card. And I personally don't really see much use for this card in my opinion. I mean, maybe if you were an offlaner, just to help you do extra damage to the safe lane if you really need it. But I just don't see much else use for it. I just don't think the minions are going to be doing that much damage early to mid game, as the minion waves won't be that big. But again, it's something we'll probably have to wait to experiment with once the update comes out. Then we have Green Sprint, which gives you some basic armor and regenerative rest, which is the effect. 5.2 health regen while out of combat. Just like before, a pretty simple card. If you're out of combat a lot, it'll be a nice beneficial card. Cost 3 vitality, which makes sense, and probably something you would want for an offlane hero if you're not going to be in combat that much, and if you need extra regen and the basic armor. A nice tanky card early on, and I think that's pretty much made for either passive support or a offlaner. Then we have another Cultivate card, which is the Growth Totem. What this does is has the effect Grow, gain 0.5 power and 9.2 max health every minute. This effect has no limit. So the second you buy this card, not right at the start of the game, but the second you buy this card, this stuff will start stacking. So what I would suggest is getting this card early on if you are going to use it, but it's definitely something that if you keep, and if it's going to be more of a late game card overall, something to definitely have. Just like I said, it's a Cultivate card, so it has that trait, meaning if you get rid of the card, you lose all the power and max health. You can't get the card, wait till late game, get rid of it and get something else on, then you would lose absolutely everything this card would have given you. An interesting card. I'm interested to see how long match lengths are and how beneficial it really would be once you work out the numbers. Then we have Tyrant, which gives you some power, and then is also another jungle card. The jungle power gives you gain 0.2 power for every jungle minion killed. Then also has an extra one called Jungle Health. After 50 minion jungle kills, gain 200 max health. It costs 3 vitality and 3 agility, so this is definitely more a mid-game card for the jungle role. Personally, I feel this is just a great card to get as a jungler. If you have the Growth Affinity, this card and the one I suggested before are just #1 picks for a jungler. They seem pretty good cards to help with the health and the damage of clearing jungle waves, and really benefits those junglers are able to keep their jungle camps clear and do really efficient farming. So if you're that kind of jungler, I think this is just an instant buy, especially with the extra power there. I definitely think that is going to be a really good jungle card. Then we have Pensive Shaymin, which gives you some mana regen and health, and the effect Regenerative Mana. Regenerate health equal to 12.3% of mana restored. It costs 5 intellect and 2 vitality. Seems a pretty good card. I don't know really how much this is going to work because of how the new stats will change with health and mana regen, but again it's one of those cards that's definitely going to be more tanky, as most of the growth cards will be. Then we have one of my most interesting and favourite cards from Growth is Apex Predator. Gives you some power and attack speed and the effect Empowering Strikes, which is quite similar to Sparrow's passive ability, and it kind of looks like Sparrow. Grant a stack of 0.4 power when damaging enemy heroes, stacking up to 50 times. At max stacks, gain 11.1 ability armor. It costs 5 intellect and 2 vitality. So I'm guessing this means that the stacks stay there forever, meaning that depends if you hit an enemy hero 50 times over, it doesn't matter what enemy hero, then the stacks will full up. Again, I'm not sure if there's a certain period of time you have to get the stacks. If you don't hit an enemy hero, say for 20 seconds, you lose all the stacks or not. I'm not sure how that works, but that definitely seems really cool. If it fully stacks for the whole duration, you have that card. The next card we have is Vital Waters, which gives you health regen, and the effect Applied Healing. Increase all healing effects cast and received by 9.2% and cost a whole 7 vitality. So this seems a really cool card if you have some healing abilities yourself, like say Narbash or Phases Heal would be really cool. This even Rampages is really cool, and I'm sure there's many cards in the Growth Affinity or in other affinities themselves that help with healing effects, which could be really cool. And there are a few cards here I will later suggest which could combo with this really well. This reminds me of Clear Heart, which is in the current game, which just increases all healing given or received by a certain percentage, so it's very similar to that. We're pretty much now getting into the more mid to very late game cards, and the next one is Sprite King, giving you mana and mana regen with a restoration link. You and a target ally gain 36.8% of your mission health and mana over 6.1 seconds. It's quite a significant cooldown and mana cost, costing 5 intellect and 2 vitality. Pretty simple card here of what it's going to do, and I think that's pretty nice. Again, this is definitely more of a support card. You can link to an ally, help them get their health and mana back, which is cool, so it can help not just your carries but casters as well if they are low in health. A really nice card there, just going to see if it's cost worthy or not, but something especially for a support hero. Then we have Swift Hunter, giving you power and attack speed, and has the actual effect Executioner's Rush. Gain 76.7 move speed for 10 seconds after killing an enemy unit, and cost a whole 7 agility. This is going to be a card when we're going to have to see in game how it really turns out. But my opinions is, if it's the type of hero which you want to get in personal to a fight, kill enemies, but then you want to get the hell out there before you get obliterated, this is going to be a card for you. So say if you're a Sparrow or someone, a weak hero like that, or even a Seraph who's more of a melee hero but you are weak, then getting in, getting a kill, then being able to get that movement speed to get out would be really nice. Or maybe a hero that can lock onto heroes not that well but can kill really easily, like a Countess. Countess uses all her abilities to teleport to someone, kills them but can't get out. This could be quite beneficial for a hero like her. The next card is Funda Cleaver. I believe it's the only card out of all the new cards that has the same name, and it's something very similar. It gives you some basic armor and power, and gives the effect Whirlwind. Deals 61.4% basic attack damage to nearby enemy units, has the same cooldown as it does currently, but actually has a mana cost now, which seems quite expensive. And improved cleave, which increases cleave damage by 30%. It costs 5 vitality and 3 agility. So pretty much very similar to what Funda Cleaver was before, but seems a bit weaker. Funda Cleaver was a card before that either if you wanted to split push or if you built more tanky but still wanted to do considerable amounts of damage in team fights, this was a card for you, and it seems it's exactly doing the same even though it's a bit weaker. I'm sure in the new game system it will be just fine. Then we have Vengeful Maia, which gives you extra health and basic armor with a burst slow. Apply a 61.4 move speed slow to nearby enemies after taking 500 damage. It costs 3 intellect and 5 vitality. So this reminds me of a card we currently have in the game called Toxic Gel, which cleanses you after you take a certain amount of damage. In this case, however, after you take a certain amount of damage, you apply a slow, which I'm not sure if this is a significant slow or not. 61 move speed slow doesn't seem that great, but is to nearby enemies. So pretty much if you're a melee frontliner tank, as a support or more a jungler, a Sevarog, anyone you want to be in the middle of a team fight and you're going to take a lot of damage late game as it is a late game card, this card suits perfectly for you. Then we have Coursing Zephyr, which I probably said horribly wrong, which gives you basic armor and attack speed with the effect Speedy Purification. Purify yourself and gain 153.5 move speed for 1.5 seconds. The cooldown is pretty high and so is the mana cost, costing 2 vitality and 6 agility. So this card is very similar to Hunter's Gilly, which means you have to activate it to purify the self, so I presume it won't cleanse you from stuns, but say against an Aurora ultimate, you can use this card and it would deactivate the Aurora's ultimate. So this card will pretty much purify you from any debuff you have, from burning, poison, bleed, again Aurora's ultimate, anything like that. This card will help you there, which is quite nice to see they're keeping these cards to help counter certain heroes. Then we have another Cultivate card called Battleship Pert, which has the Minion Leader Aura effect. Nearby allied minions gain 6.1 health regen and 3.7 power. Then the Cultivate trait part of this is effect is disabled if another hero is nearby and costs a whole 9,000 Paragon gold. So this pretty much is a card if you want to be by yourself and split pushing. So pretty much in a nutshell, like I said, this is a pure split pushing card. If you don't want to be near any allied heroes and just want to split push lanes over and over and over again, talking to you Wukong, this is the card for you. Then we have Unbroken Spirit, which gives you a lot of health, ability armor and power with the effect Reactive Regeneration. Heal for 1.8% max health per second for 4 seconds after being hit by hard crowd control. This effect may stack. It costs 9 vitality and 3 agility. This card is pretty much Thermobond 2.0. So it heals 1.8% max health per second for 4 seconds. So 1.8 times 4 is the amount of percentage of max health you would gain back, which on top of my head is like 6.4% health back, I believe. And note again, it is hard crowd control, so stuns, knock-ups, roots, anything like that, slows won't count because it's not hard crowd control. So really cool card they've done, and probably changing and tweaking it to work in the new system. Cool to have that card back. Definitely one of my favourite cards currently in the game. Then we have Trapper, which is definitely one of my more favourite cards. It has 15 power, 32 attack speed. Then we have the effect Slowing Strikes. Basic attacks reduce enemy move speed by 6.1 for 3.1 seconds. Again, those numbers may change like everything else. This stacks up to 10 times. At max stacks, root your target for 0.6 seconds. This costs 4 vitality and 8 agility. So it's a power card. You probably want more heroes that can keep to targets a lot of period of time, more melee heroes. I mean, the perfect one on top of my head is Chimera, someone that could always keep to an enemy hero over and over again, and being able to slow them continuously can be a massive bonus. Funnily enough, saying that, this card could also be useful for those melee heroes that can't keep enemies near them, so they don't have those slows or anything to really keep them close towards them, say like a Wukong, a Seraph, a Fen. Having this card means that you can keep slowing them down if you have enough attack speed to make them close enough to you, so you can just burst them down with real ease. So that's definitely a card I cannot wait to see how well it combos with mostly melee heroes. I mean, it could work with ranged heroes as well, I guess, with the extra slows. If you can burst someone down very quickly, say if you're a carry and you have a lot of attack speed, 6 shots isn't going to be that hard to get. Then we have the next card called Malik Ganesha, which gives you mana, regen and power, with ramping spells being the effect. Abilities hit by enemy heroes increase your damage against that hero by 2.5% for 10 seconds. This effect can stack up to 8 times, and this card costs a whole 13 intellect attribute points. The idea here is that ability hits on enemy heroes increase your damage against that hero for a certain period of time, and this effect can stack up to 8 times. So in my mind, this is going to be great for those heroes that have damage over time abilities, which is going to be really strong. Say Gideon's ultimate, Gadget's ultimate, or Melgras's Hive ability, which is damage over time, and there's probably many more I can't think of on top of my head. But any ability that can deal damage over time, this card is going to be amazing for them. So watch out for this one. I definitely think on those damage over time abilities, this is something to definitely experiment and try out with. And then we're on to the last 2 cards, being Awakened Ancient, giving you health, power and attack speed, and Overwhelm. Deal 0.6 bonus damage to targets with less vitality than you. Amount is increased by vitality difference. So this, of course, you need quite a lot of vitality because it works with the card. You need 10 vitality and 3 agility. We don't know how much the bonus damage is increased depending on the difference of vitality, but I presume every point of vitality gives you 0.6 bonus damage, which I'm guessing is the case anyway. But this means, again, with most of the growth affinity, which I'll get to in a bit, is more focused on vitality, because pretty much every card has vitality. It's definitely more of a tanky and support affinity. That means you're probably going to build a lot of vitality anyway. You've got to look at the enemy team and think how many of them are actually going to build vitality, and pick a hero that isn't going to buy that much vitality, mostly carries. This card would be really good against them. And then finally we have one of the tribe, which gives you health and power, with group power being the bonus. Gain 9.2 power for each nearby allied hero. This costs 3 vitality and 10 agility. So this is definitely going to be, again, a late game card for team fights. Get near as many allied heroes as possible in team fights. Be a team player, be a support hero. This card will help you massively for that, and is going to be a pretty good card. But that about does it for all the growth cards. My opinion on this is it mostly focuses on the vitality attribute, which pretty much is needed for every single card. I like the cultivative trait on the cards. I think that's a very unique and interesting thing, and definitely one more of my favourite traits out of all the affinities. This is very similar to what we have now currently with growth. It's going to be for those tanky support kind of heroes, with a few jungle cards added in, and also has a few cards too, which maybe be more for casters or so on, but I definitely think there's more cards that help with tanky heroes being able to survive, and also do extra damage with stuff like Funda Cleaver. But that about does it for this video, as it's really going to be super long. Hope you enjoyed it. I will be doing this for every single affinity, so share, subscribe, like if you enjoyed this content. Make sure as many people see it as possible, so they're as aware as possible on August the 8th. And then hopefully you stick around for the next one, and I'll see you all next time.